On today's episode of Titus and Tate, we are talking to our great friend. I'm willing to go there, Tate.
Of the program.
The original friend of the program, Duncan Robinson. We talked about his experience at All-Star Weekend. He was in the 3-point contest. You might not remember because it happened quick, Tate. He was only a part of it for like a minute and a half.
Yeah, he said 3 minutes. So let's say 3 minutes most. At most.
We talked to him about that experience, how he let down Dwayne Wade, we talked about John Beilein, some stuff there. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news. John Beilein was not well received in the NBA. And all sorts of other stuff. Duncan's awesome. He has been we call him the original friend of the program. We talk about it a little bit. There's a fun story that we talked about, like why we latched on to Duncan his senior year at Michigan and how that all came about. We talked about that a little bit too.
Yeah, you were almost like the Scooter Braun, you were just scrolling online and then you found Duncan. No, I'm kidding. Duncan Robinson. He tells the story. It's great. We got to talk about San Diego State.
We are also going to talk about our trip to San Diego State. We went down for the home finale, the senior night game against Colorado State, and what an experience that was. We'll get into it. Just save your thoughts, Tate. I see you're ready to just be shot out of a cannon here and talk about all that. We're going to hit that. Also, Duke lost. I don't know if you saw that.
They did.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
We'll hit on that. We'll hit on some Maryland stuff, too, because I know Maryland fans are cracking their knuckles and ready to fire off tweets at me, and they're waiting to hear what I can say so they can throw it back in my face.
They're the new Marquette,
basically.
yes.
Yeah. So I will give Maryland fans plenty of ammunition here in a little bit. That's what's on the docket today. We're going to get to all of it, but first.
Danny Manning never dies.
All right, we're recording this on Thursday. We're recording a little early today, so by the time you're listening to this, a lot of games have been played. So I just want to get that off the top that right now, Wisconsin.
Don't hold us to any of the games.
Anything that happens tonight does not count. And the reason why is Tate and I are going to Pauley Pavilion tonight for the Arizona State UCLA game.
Who is the hottest team in the Pac-12? Find out tonight.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to find it out tonight. So if something crazy happens in the IU Purdue game, I think Wisconsin's up 7 early on Michigan. That's why we're not talking about anything there. If Jeff Jackson hits a half court hook shot for the win, and you're like, I can't believe Titus and Tate didn't talk. That's why. That's the reason why we got to get to Pauley Pavilion. Traffic is out of control in this city, so we have to. You
have to tell everyone that when you live in LA, people just want to know one thing. You just say, "Man, traffic." And everyone relates. It brings people together.
It is a great excuse.
It takes like 4 hours to get to Brentwood.
It used to be my excuse to get out of everything when I lived in the Midwest, which is diarrhea. I just go there and make everybody uncomfortable. They're like, "Why are you late?" And I was like, shit, I had diarrhea." And they're like, "I don't want to hear anymore." That's it. Traffic is my new excuse. Traffic is a little more palatable.
It is very true that it seems like more accepted in the Midwest and the South.
Like, I had diarrhea last week. I get it, buddy.
Handshake, hand wash,
and coronavirus.
Yes. Watch out, folks. Stay safe out there. Speaking of trips, we took a trip down south. We went to San Diego. We went to San Diego, yes. A trip unlike any other, really, because, again, we left Los Angeles around primetime traffic. We got to San Diego right when you want to get there around 5 o'clock.
We're playing Grateful Dead as we're rolling into campus just to honor Bill Walton in his hometown. That was fantastic.
There are skaters everywhere.
That was my initial thought. Yeah, the skaters. Let's do initial thoughts. Just right out of the gate. The skateboarding lanes that San Diego State has on campus was baffling to me. I've never been anywhere in the world, including LA. Like LA, even they kind of have like skate parks. It's like if you want to skate, go to that little tiny area on Venice Beach. Otherwise, keep it out of my face. And Jonah Hill did all he could with mid-90s to pretend like skating is like a huge thing in LA. It is. A lot of people skate, but like the government isn't saying, "Oh, we love it. Skate."
Keep skating, kids.
Skating is always the counterculture. That's what makes skating, right? But at San Diego,
what if I told you skater bros became government officials who then put in skater laws?
In San Diego, it is the culture. It is not the counterculture. It is they have bike racks, but instead of for bikes, they're for skateboards. And it says if you put your bike on the skateboard rack, you will be executed. It was wild. That stood out to me. So many guys with backwards hats. So many guys with jerseys and no shirts on underneath, just letting the guns out. So many flip-flops. Like that was the stereotypical look as a kid in flip-flops. He's got like what looked like swim trunks on. a Kawhi Leonard jersey with no undershirt, a backward snapback, and a skateboard under his arm, and he's walking, and you're like, why don't you use your skateboard? He's like, because I actually don't know how to skate. I just want to walk with the skateboard under my arm.
But if I don't have a board here, it will get bad.
I'll be expelled, so that's it. Yeah.
Please run. But yeah, we got down to San Diego State. We went to the Viejas Arena, and we pointed out that we have not confirmed this. I refuse to look it up, but apparently the Viejas Arena was built in the Aztec Bowl.
I have confirmed it. Doug Gottlieb confirmed this to me when I went on his radio show. He told me it was built on top of the Aztec Bowl, which feels like an Aztec tradition.
20 minutes later.
It feels like a little right.
Yes, just keep
it feels a little, I mean, building it on top of like a burial ground. Like I don't know. I'd have to refresh my Aztec history there, but that seems a little.
It seems like they were trying to pay homage, but we're not sure. Yeah. I mean, they're winning games though, so obviously
they are winning games. Yes. The arena. So let's talk about that a little bit. The Viejas Arena. My review: 5 stars. 2 thumbs up. Well, let me dial it back. 2 complaints, and one of them.
If you were part of the show or the show alumni, turn the volume down right now.
Complaint number 1. I'll admit, might just be my fault. I just might be an idiot, but I was under the impression that the only way to get concessions or beer or go to the bathroom or anything was to walk all the way up to the top. They might have had them on the lower level, but so I wasn't paying attention. So I'm sure some San Diego State fans like, you idiot, you could have just walked down 4 rows and went there. I didn't see it. I wasn't paying that much of attention. I thought basically
I don't think so. I think you are correct.
To set the stage, you walk in at the top. It's one of those arenas. Like Iowa has the same deal. I'm trying to think of others I remember that have that, where you walk in at the top. Newcastle, Indiana, the biggest high school gym in the world, has that. You walk in at the top.
We all know that. We all know Newcastle.
You know Newcastle. You go down. You walk into the top and then you go down. Right. That's how it's built. And so if you're sitting on like the 3rd row, it's my understanding, Tate, if you want a beer, you got to walk like 40 flights of stairs to get a beer.
Yes. If you are scared of heights, or if you have any sort of proclivity to not feel like you are going to fall right into the actual court, it may be something that you don't want to do.
The good news is,
but otherwise, it's a beautiful place. We met the show.
Going back down is easy because you just
turn it back up. Come back.
Going back down those stairs is easy though. You just get on your skateboard. They have a skateboard lane right there. You can just whip it right down. Jump on the ramp. So that was complaint number 1 though. Was you have to walk all the way up the stairs. Complaint number 2 was
cardio though.
They stopped serving beer at halftime, which is such a tease. Like I honestly, I'm scared to say it because I don't want to be held to this, but I think I would rather just not serve beer at all than serve it up until halftime and cut me off. I'd rather just go in and be like, oh, it's one of those schools you just can't drink at the game. That's okay.
You don't want to be
teased. I understand it. Yeah, but I was teased. I was like,
the full thing.
I get there. Oh, my God, they got beer. This is fantastic. I'm going to be drinking beers all night watching college basketball. And I had a couple, and then I go back to get one at halftime, and they're like, sorry, sir. No beer.
But you do have to point out, on campus, they have a bar, Eureka, which is literally on campus, an actual bar that serves beer, that literally they give you a brown paper bag, and they say, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Have a nice walk, which is basically walk around with a brown paper bag, which I love. That was nice.
Yeah,
no complaints
that was
there.
Nice. Yeah. The wink wink is always nice.
Yeah. We're like, what's the bag for? They're like, you know what the bag's for. Fist bump.
And then the lady's like, I listened to the pod. Drop the bag, am I right? And like chicken winged us, and we're like, God damn it. No. God damn it. None
of that happened.
Not like this.
She was like $50. Yeah. We're like, we don't have cash. We have a podcast. Please, lady. But then we had a nice friend of the program, Brian. Right?
Brian, shout out Brian. Brought us some beers.
Thanks, Brian.
So the question is, why did we go? What was the point of this trip?
I still don't know. I think it was to curry favor with the Aztecs.
Yeah. It was,
and to understand where they're coming from, and now I do.
We originally set the trip up. This was supposed to be clinching the undefeated season, even though they still have one more game on Saturday or Sunday, something like that, at Nevada. Who cares? In our mind, you win your last game at home. You're still undefeated. We all have a party. We all celebrate.
No one's worried about Steve Alford.
Right.
Yes.
That was originally the plan. So we had this plan for this trip. They obviously lost to UNLV, and then it became okay. So now let's go get a vibe. Let's go get a temperature reading.
Yeah.
On how do San Diego State fans feel about this team now that they've lost? They've tasted defeat. What is the vibe? I don't know. I don't feel like they're super optimistic. And I don't think it's because they lost one game, because they didn't play particularly well against Colorado State either. And I'm judging this off of the old women we met, the legends of the show. We talked about them on the show.
Betty Boucher.
That's her real name?
Yes, Betty Boucher. Right, we're getting confirmation. Betty Boucher, sister of Bobby Boucher.
I looked up Betty Boucher when they told us that was her name. I looked it up. She's like a former wrestler. I'm not even kidding. It's like some old wrestler, like in black and white era, where where the guys had like the twirled mustaches and every wrestling storyline was like people robbing trains or something. And she was like an old time wrestler.
There's Gallagher to the right smashing pumpkins.
Do you think it's the same woman? You think she was a wrestler?
Yeah, maybe.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think so. I mean, look, let's be honest. Anytime you have a mascot for a school, there are questions to be asked as to what is the backstory. We figured this out with Sister Jean. You got to figure it out. So Betty Boucher, very lovely lady, and she has concerns about Malachi Flynn, which we both had a little bit of concern for.
She called Malachi. We were asking her how she feels, and she said, Malachi is the nicest kid.
Which we know that. We know what that means.
I was like, oh no. And then she said, I hope he can figure it out because he's not playing well right now. So, Eesh. He
kind of figured it out, though.
Yeah.
In the second half of that game. I mean, they were down. We were saying to each other, we were like, I think that we might have to turn on San Diego State because we can't be, riding with losers. You know what I mean? At one point. And they were able to figure it out. Malachi Flynn started hitting some shots. And Matt Mitchell had a nice game. We figured out that Wetzel was the real star of the show. They love Wetzel. They love making this pun about Wetzel's pretzels. And I don't know if that's sponsored, but it's apparently hilarious in San Diego. We learned all this.
At one point,
I don't know what this is doing for the listeners, but they did win the game, so they're back. They are 1-0.
We're trying to set the stage. People listening, they want to know what it's like. Like people might want to go to a game at San Diego State.
They should.
Yeah, they should.
Great experience.
I will 100% go back. It was, and I don't say I do. I'm trying to check myself because I do have a tendency to just love anytime I go to see a new arena. I love it. I just love new things. So I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. But I really do think their arena was out. There was not a bad seat in the house. We spent most of we had decent seats, and we still just chose to stand at the top the entire game because it was a decent view, and also I just didn't want to climb the stairs to get beer and go to the bathroom.
It's also one of those things where I love like being like the dad at a tournament. You know what I mean? They can't sit in the seat; you gotta stand.
Oh my god, dude! When I was living in Ohio and I'd go to the high school football games, which I totally did. You can think that's creepy or whatever, but you don't get it.
It happens in small town.
In 49 states, it's football, but
leaning up against the fence, just watching.
Yeah, I always. Like the most power move, the way you tell everyone that you swing a big dick in those small towns of Ohio is when you go to the high school game, you're standing on the top row, leaning up against the fence in the back. That is the move. The poser move, I think that's the front row guy. I think that's the dad who's like off, like behind the end zone. Like that's the dad who like doesn't have a relationship with his kid, but is like trying to, and he's trying his best, and he's like that's the guy that's all. The great dads are the ones that are at the top row, arms crossed, leaning back, and criticizing every coaching decision and every player that's not his son.
I had multiple times in soccer games where my coach would turn around, Coach Hicks, a legend, and would look at my dad and say, "Clay, shut up." And I would like, thank God, finally. I was like, I can't say it. I mean, at one time in a game, I literally was like, "Shut up, please, shut up, stop. You don't know anything about soccer. This is a baseball and a basketball player, but still." I lived that life. I understand it. So now I have I do it. You know what I mean? When something
that's
happens
what we did. That's what we were doing at San Diego State. We were just crossing our arms, like waiting for. We weren't cheering. We weren't
being
cheering
negative.
At all. And then as soon as they take the lead, we start clapping. We're like, all right, about damn time.
It's my team. That's what we like to see.
What other thoughts do we have on our San Diego State experience?
Well, Kawhi Leonard was a thought. We went to the bookstore beforehand. We got decked out in all things Aztec gear. But Kawhi Leonard has a presence there, and he's a guy that doesn't market himself really at all, but he has jerseys with his actual name.
For him. Oh my God.
They love Kawhi Leonard.
As they should.
I find that fascinating.
Makes a lot of sense. Great campus. I love the campus. I love the student body. There's a lot of. It was bigger than I realized. A lot of
30,000 undergrads is what we've heard. Yes.
Yeah, it's very broy, as you might imagine. As I already said. At one point, I went to the restroom, and
the show. Turn it down.
Yeah, these two guys. They know what they are. They know what they are. At one point, these two guys come into the bathroom and they're laughing and they're squinting their eyes and they're just like,
yes.
So I look right at both of them and I just do the exact same thing and I go, and they lost it and just started laughing harder. And then I walked out and not a word was said, but I swear if I saw those guys right now, they would like lose their minds and be like, "That's the guy from the thing." It was that
That's
kind
the
of
guy we saw at Mushrooms. That was the guy. That's right, Todd. Yeah. That was him.
We have to point out that there was. We have to talk about the banner though. We have not talked about.
We buried the lead.
We did bury the lead. This is the real. This is 100% the real story. San Diego State has a Mountain West, a 2020 Mountain West regular season title banner hanging in Viejas Arena, and they did during the entire game already. And we talked to the fans about it, and they're like, yeah, we clinched, so we hung the banner right away. And Tate and I looked at each other like, that is not how you do it. You do not hang the banner right away. That is very, very bad. In fact, we found out that they hung the banner right before they played UNLV. You do the math on that one.
A loss.
You do the math on that one. And then they did not play well against Colorado State, even though they ended up winning it. They were like 14-point favorites, and they, had to scratch and claw to hold on to that one. So I don't know. I want to believe in San Diego State. I like their team enough. Like, this is a weird. Any other year, I don't think I necessarily believe in this team, but like, it's a weird year. They play defense. Matt Flynn is good. Malachi Flynn. I'm sorry, not Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn is not good.
Malachi Flynn is
not playing quarterback.
Malachi Flynn is good enough. Like he I like defense and guards you can give the ball to score for you. They have that combination. So like, you could sort of talk me into San Diego State, but when I saw the banner, I was like, oof.
It was
That's
the
tough.
definition of
That's
act
tough.
like you've been there before. And the weird thing is they have won the Mountain West regular season. I think 4
Many
years ago we
times.
saw.
Yeah.
They won the tournament a couple years ago. So they have been here. Yet they're still acting this way. But I think that's a part of the show. I think it's a little bit of confidence, and maybe they need that. I don't know.
Yeah.
We did not see Coach Fisher, by the way, Steve Fisher.
I was bummed out about that. I was hoping he would be like Lute Olson and just like goes to all the games and sits there and hawks over the program. Is like, I could coach better than all you guys.
Yeah. If only this is my team.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a great time. It was cool. I can't recommend that arena enough if you're in Southern California. If you're one of those people like I am, who you just like to go check out new arenas, new environments, all that kind of stuff, and you're wondering, should I put Viejas Arena on my list? I say yes.
I say yes.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to have Duncan Robinson, right? I mean, this is our San Diego State talk. I don't know what else we can do. I feel like this is a paid ad. This is like visit San Diego State. And I loved every second of it, but I'm hesitant. You know what I mean? I'm still like, I'm waiting for like Ashton Kutcher to pop out or something and be like, this isn't a real, not all these people are down here. This school doesn't exist. They haven't won all these games. But it was great.
All right. You have nothing else? I have nothing else.
I have nothing else.
Thank you to San Diego State, though. Thanks for letting us come down. We wish we could have been celebrating an undefeated season, but
next year.
Okay.
There's always next year.
They're 1-0. We started a new streak.
Yes, we should take credit for that.
If they win 26 games in a row again, they will win the national title. Tate, I did
Lock
the math,
it in.
So, maybe this is the start of something new. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We are going to talk to Duncan Robinson about all the things going on in his life right after this.
Except for San Diego State.
All right, joining us now is the starting shooting guard of your Miami Heat, the original friend of the program, the only NBA player that John Beilein likes and who likes John Beilein back.
Oh.
It is. First of all, where are you, Duncan? Most people are listening.
Immediately,
to this,
Duncan's like taking off camera.
He's like, I'm out.
I cannot be here.
Most people are listening to this probably, but we do put the shows up on YouTube. So if you want to see where Duncan is, it looks like you're in a bunker somewhere. Where are you coming? Where are we looking
if you
at?
need help, any sort of help, we can bring something. We don't know. We're at Fox now. We can do something.
Despite what it looks like, I'm actually checking in from Miami, Florida. Beautiful Miami, Florida.
Okay.
It was 85 and sunny here today. So despite my background here, I'm actually doing all right. I appreciate it.
Okay, all right. Just making sure. I want to start with Beilein. Let's just get it out of the way. What
Great to see you, Duncan. I hope all is well.
No. Do you feel partially responsible for the first time? It wasn't the first time. It was the second time you played him, dropping 9 threes on him. Why? Why would you do that to your former coach, Duncan? You scored 29 points. You hit 9 threes. Do you feel like this is your fault in some way?
I'm not going to take the blame for this one. I will say, that was a special moment for me. Some of my favorite moments from this year was that game, just because it was kind of my first big game, which was exciting in its own right. But to do it against him, and I have a lot of love for him, obviously, but just to see on some of my shots, just like his antics on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to pull up. You can pull up and look at those clips, but it's just it was just funny because I was always on the side of we just gave up another 3 and now he's going to be pissed at us. But now it was reversed because now I was the one doing it to him.
Did it have something to do with Isaiah Livers starting over you? Was that what was it about that?
Were you talking shit to him? Were you, every time he turned, you're like, that one's for putting me on the bench, coach?
I mean, there was a little added motivation for
there
that performance. But once again, it's born out of love. You know what I mean? I have nothing but love for Coach.
After you hit 3 threes, he's in the timeout huddles. He's like, I've seen this kid play a million times. He's not hitting any more than that. And then you hit a couple more, and he's like, all right, he's definitely done. 5 is his limit. He can't shoot it. I watched him for years. He sucks. No, so what do you think's next for Coach? What do you like? What? How do you see it? I get asked this all the time about Thad Matta, so I have to return the favor and do it to you. And I know that you have no information, but I'm putting you on the spot anyway.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't have any information. I think if he wanted to get back into college coaching, I think he definitely could. I think he'd still, obviously he can really coach. I could also see it work out where he maybe does some front office stuff or, with an NBA organization or, honestly, knowing Coach Beilein, like I could see him doing something like with the NCAA or something like that.
Yeah.
He's always been a big advocate for the NCAA. For better or worse, but so I can see that as well.
Well, he said
Can you tell him not to do that?
Yeah,
I mean, we don't want you to steer him anyway, but maybe this is the time you're like, Coach, go to Texas. I'll come back and play there.
Again, he part of the reason he says he doesn't really, or the reason was cited that he left Michigan in the first place is that he hates recruiting. Again, do you feel responsible for that? Because like I feel like his recruitment of you, of like watching Division III games in New Hampshire, he was probably like, my God. I mean, like it got me Duncan Robinson, but at what cost? I had to go to all, Do you feel responsible for that? Because like if he's just recruiting 5 stars, is that so hard? No. But to find like diamonds in the rough like you is a pain in his ass. So again,
there's some truth to that, but I won't take responsibility for that because I was literally beating down his door to try to get
that's true.
Me to come to Michigan. So like it wasn't, it's more so I think probably and he also never came anywhere near New England.
Oh, really?
Recruit. Like I was going to Michigan. Yeah,
you're the easiest recruiter he's ever landed. Yeah,
easiest.
Yeah.
All it took was you have an offer and I committed on the spot. So like I don't think my recruitment is the example of like the tedious components of recruiting. But I'm sure in all his years in college basketball he had to go through some tough times.
Yeah, we'll blame Aubrey Dawkins, right? He's probably the guy we can put the blame on.
Yeah, that seems fair.
All right, we have to talk about the 3-point contest performance. I mean,
we blame Dwayne Wade here on this program. He was putting a lot of pressure on everybody for the Miami Heat. He was able to rig one of the competitions, but he obviously wasn't able to figure out the Mountain Dew ball. We just want to talk about the whole layout. How
often has it been brought up to you that Bam won his contest, Derek won his contest, and you were the one Heat representative that could have put a nice little bow on everything, and you did not win?
And you're supposed to be the shooter.
Oh man, I have been getting crushed, and we honestly we have a great fan base here. I was at one of the coaches on our staff. I went to his son's lacrosse game the other day, and this lady comes up to me and she's like, big fan, can I take a picture? I'm like, yeah, of course, absolutely. She's walking away and she like snaps and turns around. She goes, oh yeah, by the way, you had one job. And that was D-Wade's like whole thing. Like,
that's what
you have one job. Yeah, that was like his whole thing. So like now everywhere I go, I just get like, you had one job, just like shouted at me. But with that being said, I was given the opportunity and I didn't capitalize. So I got to live with that and I got to own that.
Well, just yell back at them 10 threes. You know, because you have the franchise record for threes in a game. Just say 10 threes.
The D-Wade definitely did not help you at all. And no, Reggie, he gassed Reggie up too. Have you actually watched the broadcast of it? Did you actually hear what they were saying?
I haven't. I saw the one clip where he said I wasn't invited to any party, and I had one job. That's about all I said.
That was as soon as you get up there, Reggie and D-Wade are like, "Here we go. He has one job. Don't blow it, Duncan. Here we go." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is not going to go well."
It was the worst setup ever. I mean, it was not fair. So we're on your side.
I'd also like to say this, and this is, everybody had to go through it. So like, it's not like I was the only one who had this kind of system set up the way it was, but like, you get 2 minutes to warm up. Everybody's out there. There's a guy on a mic screaming in your ear. It's like if you feel like you're a part of a circus more than like actually shooting a basketball. With that being said, that didn't stop Buddy Hield from making 26 in both rounds. So it's like I can't. Well, it's not like a cop out or anything, but I wish I had done better.
You just didn't make shots. You got to make shots.
I didn't make.
It's basketball. That happens sometimes. Buddy Hield also had the Kobe thing, and he dedicated it to the Bahamas, the hurricane victim. I think you were always destined to. There's a little element of destiny.
You weren't doing it for something larger than you. You know what I mean? Other than D-Wade, and D-Wade, he was sending bad energy. It wasn't
and the program, obviously, and the program.
Oh, and the program, of course.
He literally said at one point,
Pat Riley in the Heat.
He said, like, you're halfway through. You started out kind of slow, and D-Wade is like, "Come on, Duncan. Nobody knows your name yet. This is your chance for them to know your name." And I'm like,
one, he's got a great name.
And then Kevin Harlan tries to chime in, and he's like, "The Wall Street Journal called this man the most unlikely NBA player we've ever seen.
Most improbable.
Most improbable, yeah." I'm like, "How is this help? Like, what is going on here?" So it's probably best you did watch the broadcast. How was the experience in general, just being around All-Star Weekend and that whole scene?
It was great, man. It was other than the fact that Chicago's very cold. I mean, you'd think at this point I'd be used to it going to school in the Midwest, growing up in the Northeast, but Miami has definitely made me soft in that regard. So the weather was not ideal, but other than that, man, it was awesome. Just being able to, meet a bunch of different people. And then obviously, I had a bunch of teammates there as well, which is pretty cool.
Love that. Well, I was also in Chicago, Duncan. I tried to meet up with you, but you were with the Miami Heat players, and you were just, just being a big timer.
Did you actually?
No,
I'm kidding.
Man.
I'm kidding.
We tried to connect. It didn't work. And that's the other thing, dude. It's like
it was too cold. I didn't have the right jacket.
You couldn't pass Tate off as Goran Dragic.
I know. Come on, Kelly Olynyk, give me a wig. I'll wear stilts, whatever it takes.
Well, the thing is, like, so I'm there. I shoot for 3 minutes, right? That's literally it. Like, whatever it is. Or I guess it's 1 minute and 10, but like, maybe the warm up and afterwards. But like, you wouldn't believe how much goes into like those 3 minutes with like all the media and everything. I just felt like I was running around nonstop. So I apologize.
No, you were part of the production. No, that's what we talked about on the show. It's a huge production. It's a show more than basketball.
So when the dunk contest happens, how do you get? I'm always fascinated by this. Like, what's the pecking order of like guys who can sit courtside and hold up their cell phones and like are allowed to run onto the court after every dunk? Like, how good do you have to be? You're a starter in the NBA now. Like, I feel like you should be at that level. But at the same time, you and I both know if you're like, Giannis, get out of my way, and you kind of like nudge people out of the way to get on the front row, they're gonna tell you, they're gonna send your ass packing. Did you even try that? Like, did you go to the dunk contest or anything? Are you? I mean, you were already there at the 3-point thing, but I mean, like, did you stick around and
Yeah. So that was fine. So I had a bunch of my family and friends there. So like after we all got done, the 3-point shooters, there's some big names in that, like Trae Young, Zach LaVine, Devin Booker. So all those guys, I think actually pretty much everybody went out onto the court, and I was like pissed. First of all, I was like, you think that I lost? So I'm like kind of like sulking to myself in the locker room, like by myself afterwards, as
just
I'm seeing like
D-Wade in your head.
As I'm seeing like Derek like get a 50 on his first dunk. I'm like, oh, I'm really gonna be the one that blows this. And then afterwards, they're like, do you want to go out to the court? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go sit with my family. So I just like I put like a little hoodie on. Not that anyone really cares who I am, anyways. So like I put a hoodie on, and I just ended up sitting in the stands with everybody else and watching Derek win, which was awesome. But then it also like further cemented my disappointment, just because I was the only one who didn't win.
How many people in the crowd had a kid go, "Hey, I think that's Duncan Robinson right there," and they're like, "No way."
Some 3-year-old turns and's like, "You had one job, Duncan."
No, well the thing was like, people really didn't care. Like, really, like maybe like one person acknowledged me, but other than that, like literally nobody knew who I was. I mean, obviously I just laid an egg in the 3-point competition, so no one really, it's not like I just won the thing. I envisioned this like cool moment of like me winning it and then like being in the stands as like a man of the people, but it didn't really play.
So will you do it again if you're asked?
You have to.
You have to, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right.
Just out of like sheer redemption, like I gotta right that wrong.
But don't do the Aaron Gordon thing where you like come back and you're like, I'm gonna win now, and then you don't win, and then like I don't know. You should just do it every year. That could be your legacy. You could be like the Nate Robinson of the 3-point. Yeah, it could be the Robinson thing. You could be Nate Robinson of the 3-point contest where you're just like, I'm trying to win 7 3-point contests in my career.
I gotta win one though. At least like Nate got one. I gotta win one.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you about Michigan a little bit. We're filming this early. Michigan is playing Wisconsin tonight. The tip-off is coming up here. And so that game, like as people listen to this is going to come out, that game would already happen. So if you're wondering why we're not talking about whatever happened in that game, that's why.
We have to go to a UCLA game tonight. You know what I mean? Report on the Pac-12.
There you go.
Yeah, but Michigan is hot right now. It's been an up-and-down season for the Wolverines. How much are you paying attention to what's going on? How many games can you watch when you're on the road? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I always watch them when I can, if we're not playing or if we're not traveling or something. So I always try to tune. I'll definitely tune in tonight for sure. But it's been obviously, a little bit of an up and down season. They're playing their best basketball right now, which is, what you want to be doing, obviously. So I think they're they'll be just fine come March. And I'm looking forward to them making a run.
Will they make a run, though? That's the real question. That was the most Coach Beach answer I've ever heard.
Thank you, Coach.
I can tell that you play for the Miami Heat.
Oh my
Did they just run you guys through a car wash? Like, here's what you say.
Are you sure you're not being? Are you sure you're not being held hostage, Duncan? I mean, my God, it feels like Pat Riley is sitting on the other side of the camera, just like with his arms crossed.
I've kind of navigated this in and out of the Coach Speak. I've had some moments where I've given you some candid, honest answers.
Well,
and I've given you some of
Well, you're a professional podcaster for people that don't remember, so you know how this works. True. That's why we have to call you out on. You know what it is.
I want to bring that up. I was going to save that for the end, but now that Tate broached the subject here, have we told the story publicly how you and I got connected in the first place? Because I feel like now that you're starting in NBA games, it's time to share that story. I don't think we have. Do you want to tell the story, Duncan, or do you want me to tell it? Go ahead.
You can dial it up, man. I'd love to hear it from your perspective.
Okay, I'll tell the story.
I can maybe fill in the blanks, but I think it's a great story.
You correct me if I'm wrong. So as Duncan was going into his senior year at Michigan, he emails me and he's like, he said, "Hey, my name's Duncan Robinson. I play basketball for Michigan." I was like, "Yes, of course, I know who you are." And he says, I have an interest in getting into sports media after I graduate. Do you mind if I pick your brain about it? And I was like, "Of course, man." So we set it up. He calls me, and he just is asking me about like, can you give me any advice? And I was like, "Don't do it. This industry's horrible." And
don't you ever say that.
Yeah. And then he's like, "No, like, but if I wanted to do it, what should I do?" And I'm like, be best friends with Greg Oden. That's kind of how I did it. So we had this conversation, and I was like, "Good luck, man. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know." And then I hung up. I was like, "That's pretty cool. You know, some kid that plays at Michigan. Like, I know his name. I kind of knew his story a little bit." And then he blows up. They have the great year. They go on the run. That's why on the podcast that year, when we were doing the pod, I became like a Michigan fan, and all the Ohio State fans were like, "What the hell's going on?" And
they turned.
And I was like, "Well, you know, I'm cheering for this upstart kid.
I'm pulling for the winners.
This little underdog. I want to see Duncan get in the game and maybe hit a couple shots. Wouldn't that be cool?" And then it's just snowballed from there. And now it's hilarious to look back on that phone call when you're like, "I think I'm about to graduate, and I don't know what I want to do with my life." So my two choices are, I could continue to do a podcast with Andrew Dockich, or I could start in the NBA. And I think I want to start in the NBA.
Yes, the road less traveled.
That was a tough decision. That was well told by you.
First of all.
So it's funny. Like at that point, I didn't know what was in store for my basketball career. I was maybe anticipating a couple of years in the second division in Lithuania, and then I'd come back over here, and then
it's a great league.
Maybe give the sports media a go. But dude, honestly, man, like credit to you. We dialed it up for like a good hour and a half. I remember that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Just like on a random like Tuesday, which was a ton of fun, and I totally picked your brain on a bunch of stuff. And I think that was in the middle of our March season or at the beginning?
It might have been early, but it was before I realized there was something in it for me. So credit to me on this investment, because like if you would have called me on your Final Four run, I'd been like, hell yeah, let's go. Let me get on that bandwagon. But I was like, at the time, I was just sort of like, yeah, you know, I mean, I'll take the call, I guess, whatever. And so it was still like early on before we knew that you guys were going to be good that year.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you guys are in the locker room after the game in Staples Center. It's just like
and then you let the SI kid get the interview before us, the little SI kid.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That was tough.
I got boxed out by like an 8-year-old.
Yeah. No, but then our SID tried to kick you guys out.
He's like, "Who are these guys?" We're like, "We promise we have passes. Please believe us."
No, it was good. We made it all work.
How much has your life changed in the last few years? Just, you know, your journey has been well told. We've talked about it many times on the show, but just in general, being recognized and wanting pictures. And I know that's not exactly new for you. I know we make it sound like you were a walk-on at Michigan or something. You know, like that obviously wasn't the case. But clearly your profile is being raised. D-Wade says no one knows your name. That's not true. How much has your life changed in that regard, and how weird is that for you, or is it fun? What are your thoughts there?
It's changed a little bit more recognition. Honestly, mostly just in Miami, just because of like the team success. You know, we've had a pretty good year. Outside of that, though, like honestly, my life really hasn't changed that much. I'm still like I have my closest friends who I'm still really close with, family obviously, and I just kind of do my own thing day to day, work out, whatever, go to practice, games, all that stuff.
Are you still like calling people and introducing yourself as like Duncan Robinson, this guy that plays or do you flex your celebrity and your stuff at all? Like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Do you call restaurants and you're like, yo, Duncan, give me a table and hang up?
No,
you done anything like
actually,
that?
Every now and then I'll do this like very occasionally if there's like a reservation I really want to get. I actually did it for Topgolf one time on like a Saturday. I'll have my boy call.
Oh, nice.
He'll be like my manager, right? I'll be like, which is like, it sounds like kind of like a dick move, honestly. But it's like if you need a bay at Topgolf, it's like you kind of got to pull it. But no,
this is Topgolf we're talking, folks. You know how it is. You know what I mean? You have to have a manager to make that happen.
I keep it pretty. I try to keep pretty low profile with that stuff.
Have you earned Andre Iguodala's respect yet, or does he hate you as much as he hated all the guys he played with at Memphis? Look at him. Duncan's looking over the camera like.
Has he called you Grayson Allen yet?
No. Dre's been great, honestly.
Great.
He's like obviously ton of experience, multiple championships. So I just try to ask him as many questions as possible.
There you go. Great coach answer there.
Yeah,
that was pretty much coach speak, but it's also true. I mean, there's some truth in that one.
Yeah, I wanted to point out also for people that don't know, your middle name is McBride, and Duncan McBride is also a great name. So I mean, you got double like we should sell that to Danny McBride. You got like a career after basketball also, and it's an entertainment, and we're gonna take it. We're gonna make it happen. We'll be your managers in LA.
Is that with Duncan McBride? So here's my question, Duncan: if you were borrowing your athletic director's car and you hit a pole at 2 a.m. and the police came and asked you for your name, would you say Duncan McBride? Is that what you would?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
What name would you give, Duncan? Would you give Jeff Jackson, or would you come up with something more creative than that?
I think probably Duncan McBride.
Duncan McBride.
Just so they have my full. I think that was an effort to make sure they have my full name in case there was any other Duncan Robinsons floating around there. Duncan McBride Robinson. Just to eliminate any confusion.
Oh man, he's doing so good at like answering questions with
That was a tough one.
Who I'm curious about this. Who on the Heat is the biggest fan of their alma mater? You said you're following Michigan a little bit. Is there a guy that you feel like you're saying to yourself, you're like, man, I like Michigan, I like following Michigan, but holy hell, I didn't realize this guy loved his alma mater this much. That's on another level.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I'd probably say Udonis.
Udonis is
Florida.
Yeah.
He's just kind of everything Florida. The other, like Bam and Tyler did like 1 year at Kentucky, so they're like fake pride.
Right.
Like Kendrick.
They're Calipari fans.
Yeah, Kendrick.
They're like LeBron fans. They'll follow him wherever he goes.
Do they reference Derrick Rose as going to Kentucky too? I feel like that's what they're like. Yeah, man, we
know D Rose counts.
Kendrick had multiple stops. Myers really likes Illinois. Another Big Ten guy, obviously, but I'd probably say Udonis.
Yeah.
Jimmy loves Marquette too. I should actually mention that. And now we have Jay too, who's also a Marquette guy, and obviously D Wade, Marquette. So there's a strong Marquette contingency in Miami.
Do they like Wojo or they just like Marquette?
I think they just like.
We're just stick with Marquette. That's always good.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right. Anything else, Tate?
No,
what else we got to cover?
We got to play. You got a stretch run coming up for the playoffs. I mean, is this stuff you're thinking about right now? Because obviously in the playoffs you're going to matter because you're shooting like 45% from three, and this is how it works. I mean, no pressure. I don't want to be like D Wade and get in your head about this, but it's a big time coming.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it, man. These we haven't been playing great through this last little stretch, but hopefully we'll figure it out. We got some moving pieces with the trade and everything, but obviously never been through a playoff run in my career, so definitely excited to gear up for it and see what happens.
Look at this. The coach speak is on another level. It's
hopefully
fantastic.
Make some shots. Yeah,
we got to make shots.
You're making shots. Yeah.
All right, we'll let you get out of here. Oh, one more question. Where do you stand on the coronavirus? How scared are you? I'm just curious.
Scale of 1
I'm trying to get it. You're in Miami. You're on the other side of the country, so I'm just trying to get like a data collection here.
Honestly, I'm pretty concerned. I feel like there's it's the one thing I was reading about it yesterday.
This feels like a clip they're going to play back, in the future when we all have it. And
be careful, Duncan. I don't want the headlines to like you're the new Kyrie talking about flat earther or nuts. It's like,
well, no, I've been trying to be like locked into it. I was more concerned. I'm still concerned, so I don't want you to think I'm not concerned. But I saw something, and I don't know how legitimate this is, they're like, it's only killing like 1% of people that are like below 40.
Yeah, see, you've seen both sides. Yeah, exactly. That's
so it's like, my original reaction was like, oh, this is just wiping people out. Like, this is just like coming through.
I thought it was World War Z or something.
Yeah, so did I. So now I think it's like 10% if you're like over 60. So that's concerning. 10%, double digits, that's like starting to get concerning. But like 1% is like, I don't know. I think it warrants our respect and acknowledgement, but I don't think it's like sound the alarm just yet.
Okay, so we're sending this clip to Fox News. They're going to put that up tonight.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to have you
on. Fears alleviated.
Oh, my God.
Well, where do you guys stand? I'm curious.
I don't care ever. Like I if it's my time, it's my time. That's always my attitude on all this stuff. Is like if I got worried about it, what would I do? And the answer is like nothing. I mean, I don't know. I am very just blasé about basically everything in my life. I don't know. Just kind of whatever. Who cares? Like
some people are saying you got to like stock up on essentials and like
No,
I don't know because like the prices are about to go. No. I've heard that. I'm not saying I'm doing that. I'm just saying I've heard.
If a zombie apocalypse happens, I am going out immediately. Like no like what kind of quality?
I'm not fighting.
What kind of quality of life are we talking? Even if you survive that thing and like most of like
I'm not trying to like remake the world. I'm not trying to. I'm
out.
Trying to reset.
I am. You know, there are a lot of alpha males out there. I'll proudly say like if that doesn't make me an alpha male, that I'm fine with it. Like I don't care. Like because that is not a quality of life that I want. Like there's not going to be internet, Duncan. Like in the post-apocalypse, there's no. Like,
but I got mad DVDs.
What
so
are we doing?
I'm gonna post up for like 3 years. I'm gonna hide out for like 3. I'm gonna pick my spots. That's all it is.
I think I'll rip through a couple shows.
You just gotta have a plan. That's pretty much what it is. Like we got earthquakes in LA. You gotta have a plan always.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I will stay alive long enough to binge a couple shows, and then when I run out of like those episodes,
well,
like,
I'm done with Mad Men.
That's it. All right, I guess it's time to go. Oh man. All right, Duncan, we love you. Thank you for coming on. The original friend of the program. Those of you, the Johnny Come Latelys on this show don't know this, but Duncan was the first. He was the first current college player to come on our show.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's like the first 3-time guest, certainly.
For sure, and a millionaire now.
And a millionaire. Yeah. What?
The first millionaire on the show.
Yeah. How's that going? What's the coolest thing you bought? You bought your mom a house. Is your mom like asking you for a house? Like, how does this work? Who's asking for the most money? What's going on?
We don't want to pocket.
I have not bought my mom a house yet. Maybe down the line, we'll see. The coolest thing that I bought, man, I'm pretty unexciting. I don't really have much for you in that regard. I got my whole family Hamilton tickets for Christmas.
That's cool.
That was kind of like a big purchase. So we got like it's actually this weekend in Miami, so we're all going.
Wow.
So that'll be fun. That's about all I got for you guys. I don't really have much else.
So improbable.
He really, What if I told you?
I love it. Appreciate you, Duncan.
The man, he goes to Topgolf. He goes to Hamilton, and that's it. That's all he does. Duncan Robinson, not a slug. He is definitely not a slug. He is our great friend. Thank you so much. Good luck the rest of the way. As you guys go on your little playoff run, we're going to have you back on and ride your coattails on that too. Promise us that. When that happens, because that's what we do best is we pander. We latch on to successful.
Just win.
Yeah.
And we will follow.
Yeah. So.
All right. I can take care of that.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks again to Duncan for coming on the show. We meant to have him on when he came out to LA. Was it a couple weeks ago or something? But he was way too busy for us. He was being kind of coy about that stuff. The man's life has changed. Obviously, it's changed. He used to be very available. He still comes on the show. We appreciate that, but like
I do believe when he said that he went into the crowd for the dunk contest. That made me believe that Duncan is still Duncan. So that's good to hear.
I think he's just going through an identity crisis because in his mind he's still just the kid who's asking me for advice in sports media, but the world is like, no, dude, you are a starter on a playoff team.
He should start the hashtag.
And he's getting tugged in both ways, and he doesn't know where to go. And so his solution is throw his hood on, sit in the crowd during the dunk contest, and hope no one notices him.
Yeah, and that's a nice life.
But, I was hoping we could get more out of him on the Beilein stuff, to be honest. But I could sense he's uncomfortable with it.
He will not do that.
And I don't feel bad for him because I had to live it with obviously not on the same scale, but with Coach Mata. It's the same stuff. Every time someone thought, do you think he's going to coach again? What happened? What was the story there? And everyone thinks you know everything, and you don't know shit. And anyone who listens to this show knows that I don't know shit. That's how it works.
But everyone knows that if you say you don't know shit, usually you do know shit.
Yeah.
And that's usually how that plays. So don't trust anyone that says they do know shit.
All right.
It's a tough complex.
We have to talk about the
Show.
big
Turn the
news.
volume back up.
Duke lost. I don't know if you saw this, Tate. We made a sign. We made a sign at San Diego State when we went down there. It just said Duke lost. It was an absolute hit. The fans loved it. Just carrying around a sign that says Duke lost, as it turns out, is a great way to curry favor amongst the locals.
And I appreciate you for holding the sign, because if I'm holding the sign, it just looks like that I am an obsessive fan that's worrying about Duke all the time, which I'm not at all. My mom is. I am not. I am not worried about them. But the sign was a hit. You were making people aware of it. People were looking at us. They're like, who are these guys? We even had like a news crew of people. I know we're back to San Diego State, but
we're back.
We'll talk about it. Look, I mean,
they paid us more. They said, how much for another segment? And I was like, all right, I'll do another segment.
Whatever it takes.
Pay us.
Visit theaztecs.com. Check it out. But we had, a local, TV people coming out to us. They thought we were students at San Diego State.
That is true.
And it was because of the sign. It was because the people love when you don't like Duke.
We were role playing so well as diehard San Diego State fans that there was like some news crew that comes by and is like, we're doing maybe it was an actual school. They said, we're trying to put together like messages for the seniors on senior night. Would you guys say something? And we're like, absolutely. So we just turned and we're like, seniors.
Duke lost.
Yeah.
Duke lost. Love the seniors. We wish.
Thank you so much, seniors, for all you've done. And then you and I, we get done, we're like, who are the seniors again? Yeah, we know.
We don't know.
Who knows? So Duke lost, Tate. What does this mean for Duke? Some people are saying they might have slipped down to a 3 seed now. That can't be true.
It can't be true.
It can't be true.
Absolutely.
The Blue Devils?
No way.
Does this mean Danny Manning is signing an extension this summer? What are the implications of this? Break it down. You're the Tobacco Road. You're the king of Tobacco Road. You're the research rhombus expert. What does it all mean?
Well, it means that private schools understand private schools. So basically, Duke goes down to Winston-Salem. They've always had, a bit of a time with Wake Forest. In fact, this is the most points ever scored on a Coach K coach team in this game. 125 points. Ever. And this is the most points scored against Duke since 1975, who also did that. Oh, wait, Wake Forest. Yeah, they also did that.
Wow.
So this is just classic rhombus, research. What was once the research triangle, this is rhombus talk now. This is just expected to happen.
I smell a new segment on the pod, rhombus talk.
You just throw out the numbers, guys. This is a rivalry. This is private on private. This is rich on rich. This is upset people.
I love private on private. That's some of my favorite things to do.
My mom's favorite thing. So if you've ever been to a Wake Forest basketball game, the Demon Deacon, the way they do their intros, he comes out on a motorcycle, right? And he rides around on the court. And he doesn't go fast at all. It's not turned on. The revving noise is obviously pumped into the crowd. But Coach K has blamed that for why they've lost before. I think when they lost to like Justin Gray in like 2005, he was like, that motorcycle messed up the court. Like the tread on the court was ruined by the motorcycle. Anyways, Coach K's always got an excuse. Motorcycle last night apparently did a couple more laps than needed. Who knows how all this is true? This is all on the message board.
This could only happen. I just want to pause right here. This could only happen in college basketball, where like you're breaking down a game. You're like, there's a motorcycle. There's a guy in a costume on a motorcycle.
Not a guy, a demon deacon going up against a blue devil in the Bible Belt. So you got to think about, there's a lot of energy in this building. You know what I mean? And there's a guy on a motorcycle, which is almost like anti-Baptist, but also kind of badass. You know what I mean? People don't know what to do with that. Coach K surely doesn't. After the game, he's not making excuses other than the fact that his team is young. He's like, we played 28 games, but we're still young. We're not an old team.
Because it's not March yet. In March, the freshmen become sophomores, as we know. That's when it flips.
Yes, that's when it's official.
But it's not. They're not officially sophomores yet.
So we learned that in this game. But he blames the motorcycle deep in his heart, and he will never say. He can't say that. You can't say that because that sounds insane. But if you asked him, I think behind the scenes, if you ever asked Coach K what happened, he would blame the motorcycle. 100%.
That's hilarious.
And Wake Forest, so congratulations and kudos to them.
Congratulations. I didn't watch a second of the game, so I don't really have anything to offer. Like we were in San Diego, and it was on ACC Network anyway, so it doesn't count, right? Isn't that the rule?
No one saw it.
If no one actually saw it, it doesn't count. So, Duke's okay. Duke's fine.
And Coach K did it again. So when Duke loses to a rhombus team, Coach K goes to the guard and he says, "You had a great game." So Brandon Childress in this game, I think he was 0 for 10 from the field, scoreless pretty much throughout the entire game, and then in overtime had 16 points. And Coach K comes to him after the game and is like, "I'm proud of you, son. I only talk to winners." And
I think that's what it is. I'm going to defend K on this one. I used to think it was stupid, but now I'm starting to think he just wants to only talk to winners. I think that's what it is, and I respect that. I think when his team wins, he's like, "I'll talk to you guys."
As a win-first podcast.
Yeah, we like winners. I don't know. Sue me.
Yeah, you get mad. Sorry, I'll say it.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on, and I don't blame him. So yeah. Anyway,
that's an update on Duke. I mean, no one really cares other than the fact that you had the sign at the game, and San Diego State fans were happy.
Speaking of winners, I guess I should pump the brakes and say I always like winners because there's one winner that I don't love right now, and it's the Maryland Terrapins Tate, and we have to talk about this because I am public enemy number one in College Park for not believing in Maryland as much as I should. So here's the backstory. Mark Turgeon, Maryland loses at Ohio State on Sunday. This past Sunday, they lose. Mark Turgeon is not happy with Caleb.
Blames the officials.
He blames the officials.
Yes.
He does it in the post-game press conference, which, like, if he would have, how I stand, where I stand on this. If he would have said both ways, I would have respected it. If it would have been like I felt that they were bad both ways, I'd been like, Mark, great point. But he didn't. He said that Caleb Weston was a bully. He could do whatever he wanted. Even then, I was like, you know what? It's a coach. He's hot. He's in the Big Ten running for trying to win a title. Like, I don't. He's a little upset. He'll cool down. He'll calm down. Days pass. Mark Turgeon gets in front of a microphone again, and he's like, I just want to reiterate, Caleb Weston was a bully on Sunday. And we're like, Mark, we're way past that, buddy. Like, let it go. And he won't let it go. So then Maryland's playing Minnesota last night, and they're down 17 at halftime. And I tweeted that Caleb Weston was such a bully that he broke Maryland. And thoughts and prayers to Mark Turgeon because this obviously, like, Caleb Weston must have done something to this team and they're broken. Maryland comes storming back. They, thanks to Minnesota just shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. And then Minnesota misses a free throw. They're up 2. They miss the free throw. Maryland comes down with no direction, no plan whatsoever. It's absolute madness. Like, Cowan wants to shoot. I'm not going to shoot. He's passing around. They don't really know what to do. It ends up in Morsel's hands. He has no idea what the hell's going on. He plays hot potato with the thing, does the short arm shot from a mile away. It goes down. Maryland wins. Well, they don't win yet because then Minnesota gets the ball. They throw the full court pass. Oturo goes to shoot the game, what would be the game winner, gets slapped on the arm, like the most blatant foul we've seen all year. Gets slapped right on his shooting hand, his elbow. No call, which was fascinating because Maryland fans were complaining about the officiating all night, and then suddenly they stopped complaining about the officiating. So Maryland wins, whatever. But what was fascinating to me was that I was then getting
Maryland fans, turn it back up.
No, I don't care. We're already balls deep in this. Like, I'm not backing down on this. I don't care. Once SVP was hitting me up, like threatening me. He wasn't threatening me, but no, SVP hit me up and was like kind of offering his take on it all. And anyway, where was I? It was here. I was fine with all that. I don't care that Maryland won. Maryland's going to win the Big Ten. They could have lost last night. They're still going to win the Big Ten. They're the best team in the Big Ten. I have no problems with that idea of Maryland winning the Big Ten. I even said it on the show. Like, it's great. I had hesitancy to welcoming Maryland to the Big Ten because I wondered if they were still an ACC school. But now their fans care about the Big Ten title. Now they're talking smack to everybody. You're a Big Ten team. You've made it. You've arrived. Welcome. I'm all on board with all that. What is crazy to me is that Maryland fans saw they beat a 13-14 team on the road. They were down 17 at halftime. They needed a miracle to win, multiple miracles to win. And after the game, their takeaway was like, "Eat shit. I told you our team was great. You're an idiot for thinking otherwise." And in my mind, I was like, this changes nothing. Because if that shot, if he does the short arm thing, misses, Minnesota gets the rebound, all of a sudden every Maryland fan on earth is like, we're a disaster. We've lost 2 in a row. We just lost at Minnesota. Like, what is happening to our team? But because Morsel hits a 3 at the buzzer, it's like, ha, told you we were great.
Take that.
Yeah.
Go Terps.
And that's college basketball.
Yeah, and that's what we expect from them a little bit because this Maryland team, again, they have not won in the Big Ten, even though they had a lot of expectations dating back to like the 2015-2016 season when they were number 2 preseason with Melo Trimble. And then the last time that they won any sort of conference championship, they were in the ACC. And that was a decade ago. Yeah. That was in 2010. That was with Grievous Vasquez. That was with Gary Williams, not Mark Turgeon. So Mark Turgeon, he's got a little chip on his shoulder. He's definitely a Big Ten coach. We expect them to win the Big Ten, and then I can finally let them go.
What time did he go to bed, though? I want to know. Like, do we have an update on that? Did he make it to bed by 4:30? We were really worried about that. Turgeon, I don't know. It is great, but that's what I like about this whole thing is that Maryland wins the Big Ten. They're going to win the Big Ten. Turgeon has become just like the grumpiest man on earth, and every Big Ten fan base hates the guy. Is starting to hate the guy because not only is he beating their team, but he complains about everything now. Like, you just win. You win on a buzzer. Like, it's a miracle that you win. You're now firmly in the driver's seat. You're already in the driver's seat, but now with Michigan and Michigan State coming up, there's like a little, I don't know, are we going to lose it down the stretch? I think that they're going to be fine. They're going to win at least a share of the Big Ten. So you would think he'd be like, oh, thank God we did it. And instead, like, he gets in the post-game press conference. He's like, this is bullshit. I had to play here at 9 p.m. I'm going to get home at 4:30. I don't like it. It's like, Mark, your team won. He's like, I know, but to hell with all of this.
And he got a technical foul 4 minutes into the game. You know what I mean? Like, Jalen Smith got 2 fouls 4 minutes into the game. So the officials are reacting to him too. So that's not going to be favorable once we get to the tournament.
You're not helping. But I think I was trying to do some trying to figure out like what's going on and why Maryland fans, like, how you can be winning so much and yet be so angry on the internet to everybody. Because this is not me. I did some deep dive research on the interactions that Maryland fans are having with other fan bases, and they are very. It's just like a bizarre inferiority complex for a team that is dominating the Big Ten. I don't understand it. Like, I just don't really get it. But I feel like they just don't belong. I feel like they felt like they didn't. No, stick with me. They didn't feel like they belonged in the ACC. Remember they said they left the ACC and then they got dicked on the scheduling. You remember this? That they didn't get home games like against all the best teams, and the ACC screwed them. Then they go to the Big Ten, and now the Big Ten is making them play in Minnesota on weeknights, and they feel like they're screwed. And they're the first team in Big Ten basketball history to be on the wrong end of bad officiating, which I have no idea what that feels like. None of us have ever experienced that. So I feel like they just kind of feel disrespected at all times, and they're just like on the attack as a fan base, because on top of it all, you have a coach who is now who you guys have been trying to fire for years, who everyone has hated. The only people that don't hate Turgeon are like SVP, who just like loves everything Maryland, and like the four kids who dress up like Turgeon at all the Maryland games, and everyone else was out on the guy. And now all of a sudden they're winning, and everyone's like, "You're an idiot forever downing in Turgeon." And I was like, I was just following your lead. It's all a very bizarre thing, Tate, and I don't know. It got me here, and now I don't think I'm going to ever be welcome in the state of Maryland.
History repeats itself. Maryland is a border state. Pick a side. You know what I mean? They got to figure, are you Big Ten or are you ACC? You got to figure out who you are.
But find your identity. Here's the point I want to make, though. Like, my quote-unquote hate of Maryland has nothing to do with the program. It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with this. Like, if you've been paying attention.
We love Juan Dixon. We love Lonnie Baxter. We love Chris Wilcox.
If you've been paying attention.
We don't love Grievous Vasquez, but we respect him as a basketball
Maryland team, if you've been paying attention, and I know you have, Tate, I'm going to run down. These are the last 13 games that Maryland's played, okay? So stick with me. So we have last night at Minnesota, they win on the Miracle. They win by 1. At the game before that, at Ohio State, they lose. They're down by 14 at one point. Did not play well in that game, really at all.
Really bad officiating, though.
Bad officiating, and if Cowan doesn't get the tech, then obviously he was going to score the next 26 points, and they were going to win by 15. That's exactly what was going to happen. Before that, they played Northwestern at home. It was a 6-point game with 4.5 left. Northwestern is horrible. Northwestern is the worst team in the Big Ten. Northwestern, I didn't even realize is still playing basketball right now.
Look at the camera and say that. Chris Collins.
They did go to the tournament last year, though. That was last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's got that going. He can use that momentum. The game before that, they play at Michigan State. As you remember, it took a 14-0 run to close that out. They rocket watch slaps the floor, and then that happens. The game before that, Nebraska, they win by 2. Nebraska had a shot like at the buzzer to win, and Jalen Smith blocked it and then got the rebound, and they fouled him and then hit a free throw. So they almost lost to Nebraska, who's the second worst team in the Big Ten at home. Game before that, at Illinois, down 14 at one point. Game before that, home at Rutgers, a 1-point game with 1 minute to play. Game before that.
Rutgers is good, though.
Yeah. Game before that, Iowa at home, they won by 10. I'll give them that one. That one, Iowa led most of the first half. If you want to pick nits, like, they didn't play particularly awesome in the first, but Iowa's a good team. They won by 10. I'll hand them that one. Before that, at IU, they win by 1. Jackson Davis of IU has a shot at the buzzer, a little floater, misses. Otherwise, they lose that.
We'll watch that together.
Yeah. Game before that, at Northwestern, they're down 14 at halftime. Game before that against Purdue, they kind of boat raced Purdue. I'll give them that one. And then the 2 games before that, they lost Wisconsin and Iowa. And then that goes back to January.
We are the dads against the fence going through the games that we actually won and why we're not going to win in the actual playoffs. You know what I mean? We're not an actual good team. Let me break. Even though we won these games, let's break down why we didn't actually win these games.
No, here's the point, Tate. Show me where, like, Maryland, since January 7th, when they beat Ohio State, where they played well from start to finish, I was watching the whole game, and I was like, we're not going to win this at all. Like,
Don't
Maryland
make me argue
out,
for Maryland. No, I never will.
They came out, they beat Ohio State solidly. Since that time, Maryland, they've not strung together 40 good minutes of basketball really at all.
But they don't care. They just want to win the Big Ten and celebrate.
Right.
That's all they want.
But my whole point is, like, if this Maryland team was wearing Duke jerseys and Maryland fans were watching this team and watching all these close calls and how, like, letting Northwestern hang around in Nebraska, they would call, like, Maryland fans would be so obnoxious at how much they're calling Duke frauds. I'm not even saying Maryland's a fraud. I think Maryland's a good team, but, like, oh my God, it is wild. And then, but like you said, it all comes back to they're going to win the Big Ten. I think that's all they care about. They're like, it's been a long time. It's been a long run.
Let's hope that will get them past this. You know what I mean? They win the Big Ten. They feel like they've cemented their place in the Big Ten, and then they move forward and they're happy.
I think that's what the disconnect is the Maryland fans are like focused on we're winning the Big Ten. That's all we care about. Whereas I'm watching these games like I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust this Maryland team.
You want your team to be better. I win the big tournament.
I want Maryland to go past the Sweet 16. That's what I want. And I don't have any confidence that that's going to happen based on what we've seen so far. I would love to be proven wrong. They have Michigan State at home. They have, I think they're at Rutgers or Rutgers at home. I don't know. They have Michigan State, Rutgers, and Michigan coming down the stretch. Great opportunities. Boat race Michigan State on this weekend. I'll be a believer. I want to see 40 minutes. Or you don't have to boat race them. Just be up like 7 the whole game. Be in total control. Shut down Cassius Winston. You know what I'm saying, Tate? Am I making sense to you?
I believe you. Yeah. I think Cowan has started 127 straight games. There's my Maryland fact of the day for you. And Jalen Smith is by far their best player. And Mark Turgeon is going to continue to complain. He's continued to ruffle feathers, and they're going to probably not fare well in the tournament. And that's the Maryland story.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I hope they do. I have nothing against. I really don't. I have nothing against Maryland. Like if Maryland beats, because I already know what's going to happen. They're going to beat Michigan State by 20, and then all the fans are going to tweet at me like,
"That's what we
kiss
want.
My ass."
That's what we want.
Yeah, I guess why not? Who cares?
Why not?
But I don't care if they win or lose. I'm just saying like it's my job to evaluate these teams and say who's good and who's not. If you're looking at Maryland,
not so great. Yeah. But I blame the officials.
What inspires you when you watch Maryland play? Like, because there's going to come a time in the tournament where they're going to be like, we have them right where we want them. We're down 17 with 4 minutes left. Let's just. We saw this with Nevada. This was the Eric Musselman story with Nevada.
Where they're like
sandbagging. Like we have this. Guess what? Every so often in the tournament, you think you're going to do it. You throw the ball to Morsel. He throws up the 3. It misses, and you're like, shit, that's not how it's supposed to work. That was
Especially
supposed to go in.
Your 2 best players pass the ball first.
Yeah, and then you're in the second round. You're going home, and you're like, damn, how did that happen? It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe the last 2 months you should have.
But you know what they'll say?
Playing better. What?
Well, we won the Big Ten.
We won the Big Ten. That's all that matters. You're just salty because your team sucks.
You're mad that we won the Big Ten. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
That's it. That's my Maryland rant. So I am officially. Congratulations to Marquette fans for.
You're safe.
You're safe. I no longer care about you. I'm now feeling the hatred of the Maryland fans. So
if it starts with M, you have no chance. He's coming for you.
What else do we have to talk about?
We have to quickly mention that NC State. I've heard a lot from NC State fans this season, and I'm going to quickly mention this. They lost to North Carolina in that building. Roe Williams, has somehow been able to own NC State. I think he's like 57-10 overall.
Oh, he knows what it is.
Yeah.
Did you hear him in the press? Like what he said something about it. He was like. Someone asked him something, and I remember he said he referenced his record, but he like pulled it right off his head, like he knew exactly what his record was.
So what is it, like 57-10?
Yeah,
been blessed.
Yeah,
been blessed.
I don't think it's 57-10. That feels like too many games. I don't think Roy's been at Carolina that long to be.
I don't know, but
played
again,
NC State 67 times.
Yeah. Well, look, it feels like that to them. That's what really matters.
Oh god,
that's what really matters. Okay. But yeah, so. In general, the North Carolina celebrations after the fact, you beat State twice. I guess people are excited about that. I don't like the celebrations, Mark Titus. I just want them to win a game, chill out. We don't need the dancing.
Like you've been there before.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they hang a banner too?
They may have, unfortunately. So that's not Carolina basketball. The whole point of this is we want Carolina basketball to come back. It's not here right now.
Carolina does have the most banners hung of any arena I've ever been to in my life.
Yes, everything.
If you played there for 4 years, you get your jersey hung in the rafters.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Derek Montrose.
It's the Indianapolis Colts and the Carolina Tar Heels that hang just an egregious amount of banners.
The Dean Dome will turn into a museum at some point, and it'll just be everything in there.
I want to shout out Virginia, who held Virginia Tech to 11 points in the first half. And then Kia Clark hit the game winner, and that was the whole thing. But we got a lot of action about that one. They held Virginia Tech to 11 points. Poor Virginia Tech. What happened to Virginia Tech? We saw them in Maui.
Mm-hmm.
We thought they were going to be something. They jack a lot of threes.
They are a guard-dominated team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it does not work out so well sometimes.
Yeah.
When that is the case.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you're right. Also want to shout out Adam Morrison getting his jersey retired tonight. Again, we're recording this on Thursday night. Getting his jersey retired, Gonzaga. My favorite college basketball player ever. I own his jersey. Is it hanging up in here? Yeah, it is. Right over my shoulder right there. There's the Gonzaga number 3.
Right next to Giannis's college jersey for sure. His Kentucky jersey. Yeah, he was great at Kentucky.
He was, dude. That's what I'm saying.
We should play that game with Kentucky guys. Like, ask them about other people that they just say they played at Kentucky.
Yeah, who played?
They would never
get
know.
Devin Booker on the podcast and ask him, did this guy play at Kentucky or not? And you just rip through it. And you're like, Paul Pierce. And he's like,
yes.
Yeah, I think so, right? Yeah, he was on the 96 team.
I mean, he can ball, so yes.
Yeah, it's just like,
whoever can hoop. If he can hoop. Like, go through the Heat roster. Yep, Kentucky for sure. Dragic, nah. Olenek, no.
Oh God. Yeah. Shout out to Adam Morrison, my favorite college player of all time, getting his jersey retired tonight. So that's pretty cool.
It's pretty sweet because you were down at the Maui Invitational. Obviously, we started the season there, and you got to have you recreated the shot from the Maui Invitational.
I did. Yeah, I did.
All comes full circle.
I also want to mention Penn. Penn, the coach at Penn. What was his name?
What
I forget his name.
Penn.
Penn. I don't remember the guy's name. The point is, we don't need to remember because a 15-year show cause, Tate. 15 years, this man cannot. He can't. He can technically coach, but like he's not. He's untouchable, basically.
And he was the one who was paid, right? That was the story.
Yeah, that was the story.
Which is this is the first time we've heard about this, that an actual coach was paid to train a player, and he was the one making money. So in the world of college basketball, it's not always 1-to-1. You know what I mean? You can get paid both ways. I thought that. I mean, the fact that he got punished more for helping a kid is actually the irony of it all.
He looked around the room. He's like, I thought that was what this racket is. Like, am I not supposed to
help these kids?
Am I not supposed to take money from people and exploit people? Like, what? I'm so confused. Like,
I'm going to the NBA.
A 15-year show cause, though? That's ridiculous. I mean, do you think he picked up a chair and held it above his head as he was taking the money from the kid?
Maybe.
I think that's what happened?
I think it's more for the averages, because if you give him 15, he's never going to come back anyway. Then it evens out when you give a guy 1 year, you know. It's somewhere in the middle. Speaking
of which, I want to shout out DeSosa. I think he's back this weekend.
Nice.
I think no, this is his last game. But they play Kansas State, and he's out of that one. I don't know if he's back or not.
12 games.
I think it's coming up. I didn't actually look.
Doesn't matter. We don't know.
It's like this weekend they play Kansas State because remember he got suspended up to the Kansas State, so he would not be in the rematch. And I know they're playing him.
So it's one game.
So maybe he's like after that. Like
one game after that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be funny if they started losing when he comes back.
I mean, to be honest, you have a better chance to fight from the bench in a suit than you do on the court. You know what I mean? So that's never good.
And lastly, I want to mention we were making coronavirus jokes with Duncan. It is actually
no, we were asking questions.
Yeah, we weren't making jokes.
He was being very serious.
Yeah, we were breaking it all down. The NCAA is apparently investigating what to do about the coronavirus in the NCAA tournament. There is a chance, Tate, that the NCAA tournament is in jeopardy. It might be canceled. They might. No, they're not going to cancel.
Yeah, just give it to Duke. That's what they'll do. They're just like, yeah, we love this Blue Devils team.
We would have to forfeit how much money to.
Never.
Well, here's the thing, Mark Emmert. If you cancel the NCAA tournament, all your players will live, but you'll lose $1 billion. You're like, play the goddamn tournament.
Play the games.
If you play it, they'll die, and you'll make a lot of money. And play the damn games.
I thought they wanted to be student athletes.
Anything else?
No, nothing at all. UCLA tonight. We're going to see Mick Cronin in person. Let's see if it happened. Like,
by the time
convince the team to play hard.
When you hear from us next, we'll have gone to 2 UCLA games.
Yes.
So we will have a great grasp on what is happening.
UCLA
who is UCLA? Yeah, because we are going tonight to the Arizona State game. We will be there Saturday when they play Arizona. We'll know a lot more about UCLA. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played, and we're going to see it. Also, this is the time of the show where I would get Moses out and he would make the picks. Moses is under the weather. He's not feeling great today. He did not come in. I don't know. I tried to show him clips of Jordan Slew game to get him inspired. He just looked at me like
I'm a little concerned. LA is a party scene. Yeah. You know, Moses is getting a little too close to the sun.
Can dogs get coronavirus? Is my question. Should I start taking this more seriously?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's ask Duncan.
He couldn't come in, so he can't make his picks. But some games this weekend: Auburn at Kentucky, Michigan State at Maryland. The game I'm going to be keeping my eye on. I'm cheering for Maryland. I'm going to say it, Tate. I am cheering for Maryland. I want Maryland to show me something. I want to be a believer. I want to be proven wrong. I think that's the way you handle all this is you shit all over their team for you go on a big rant and then you say, but I would love to be proven wrong, and it ties it back together, and then now they can't be mad at you. Duke's at Virginia. Keep eye on that one. Yeah, Duke always beats Virginia though, but Virginia needs the win.
Duke's definitely winning that game.
St. Mary's is at Gonzaga. The first time they played, Gonzaga gave St. Mary's one of the worst losses in program history at home. They won by 30. So there's that. And then Michigan and Ohio State. I should have talked more smack to Duncan about that.
Yeah, no. It seems like that basketball rivalry. I don't know what that is.
Can we you want to get a live update on what the scores are happening right now?
Yeah, sure. But we also, what game would Moses pick out of these games? Because then just make the pick for Moses.
God. He would pick St. Mary's at Gonzaga. And I think he would pick Gonzaga to win.
Okay. Go Zags.
He's not taking the spread into account. He's just picking Gonzaga straight up to win. So
love that.
Gonzaga money line is the pick for Moses officially. Michigan is down 4, 43-39. 18 minutes left in the second half. So
people will remember this forever.
Interesting. Purdue's up 9 at halftime on IU, 29-20.
R.I.P. Bill Titus. Where are you?
Did Purdue invite Bob Knight to that game too? He came out at halftime and
defense. The Purdue crowd's loving it. Gene Katie's fired up.
It worked so well the first time we played that we beat IU. Let's get Knight to come out at every game.
He's fine with that. That'll be good.
All right, we're off to Pauly. We will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a great weekend of college basketball. I hope all your teams win, and especially I hope the Maryland Terrapins win. Congratulations on winning the Big Ten, guys.
Watch out, Turgeon.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.